Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Summer Family Fun Series at the Missouri Historical Society. We are so excited for you to join us today. Happy Monday. Today, the series is Clubhouse at Our House, hashtag Clubhouse at Our House. And if you do any of the activities with us today, you can use those hashtags in social media if you share photos. And Clubhouse hashtag at Our House, the ancient city of Cahokia. So I've got a few people here with me today. You're going to see Danielle, Victoria, and Emily. Is everybody ready to get started? Thank you so much for joining us. Emily, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Welcome back to our History Clubhouse, friends. Who is joining us today? Use the chat box to share your name and age so we can say hello to you. Hello, friends. Hi, Abby. Hi, Charlie. Hello, Lindsay. Thank you for saying hi to us this morning. Today, as Lindsay said, we will learn about the ancient city of Cahokia and the people who lived there over 1,000 years ago. And we will learn about some of their traditions, including pottery, farming, and weaving. In our Summer Family Fun series, we've learned about the Mississippi River that flows from Lake Itasca in Minnesota all the way down the Gulf of Mexico. Over 1,000 years ago, people lived all along the Mississippi River. And today, we call this civilization the Mississippians. And we call the center of their great community Cahokia. Cahokia was the largest prehistoric city north of Mexico. Wow. It is just across the river from our city of St. Louis in present-day Collinsville. The Mississippian people built over 100 mounds around their community center of Cahokia and in surrounding areas like here in St. Louis. These mounds are masses of earth built up into small mountains. The largest mound that the Cahokian city had was Monk's Mound, and it was as big as some of the great pyramids in Egypt. Wow. Oh, and hi, Hannah, and hi, Ellie. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. And the ancient city of Cahokia was a lot like our communities today. Their communities had houses and neighborhoods and markets and temples where people would live and spend time with one another, just like we do with our families and friends today. They also made their own pottery. Do we know what pottery is, friends? Pottery is a lot like what we have in our homes today. If you have visited the History Clubhouse, you might have played with our pottery. We have some pretend examples, like this little fish bowl and this really cool piece of pottery that looks like what the Mississippian people made. And we have a real example of historic Mississippian pottery right here in our clubhouse. You might have seen this display case before. So pottery can be a pot or a plate, and it's often made of clay, just like our pretend examples here. So, like I said, if you visited the clubhouse, you might have played with these before and played in our pretend Cahokia here. And our first activity today is that we are going to be making our own simple pottery. So, I have an example of pottery that I made myself, and I don't think it looks too different from the example. I tried my best. So today we're going to try to make a simple pot. So we have our ingredients here. We're going to do a salt dough recipe. So first we need our bowl, and then we have stuff that you probably have in your kitchen already at home. We have flour, we have cornstarch, we have salt, and then we have water. Okay, so we are going to mix up our pottery and see how it goes. So we're starting with equal parts of these ingredients. So the flour, the cornstarch. Cornstarch is a little sticky. That's interesting. The salt, hence the name salt dough, and our water. Okay, and we are just going to get our hands messy and try to mix our clay. Can we see that, friends? Maybe we could tilt down a little bit. This is pretty fun and messy and sticky, I have to say. Has anyone ever used a pottery project at home? Has anyone ever played with clay at home like we're doing today? Okay, so we're mixing it all together and it's starting to look like a dough. Can we see that? All right, we're gonna take this main clump out of our mixing bowl. And now we have a fun, messy clump of our very own salt dough. So we just move it back and forth between our hands. Like Play-Doh. Honestly, once you mix it together, it's kind of like when you play with Play-Doh. So even if you don't have the stuff to make the recipe, you could do something like that at home. Oh, look at this, it's so fun. Okay. So I'm just gonna start to shape it into a bowl. Now sometimes it takes a while for dough to be ready to take shape. So actually, maybe we'll do more of a plate for right now. And so just gonna mix it one more time. All right. This is pretty fun. Okay. Yeah, I think it just needs a little more time to be able to take shape. So like I said, right now, we just have our mass of dough and it looks like a plate, I think. And so I'm gonna set this down. But again, the example that I have here, I made myself at home. It just took a while for it to be a little drier for me to be able to work with it. And then you can bake it in a low temperature at an oven. Your family can help you do that. Or you can just let it air dry, which is what I did with my pot. I let it dry naturally in the air, and it took a while. It took several days for it to fully dry. So, and then once it's dry, like I said with my example, you can tell it's not the same color as the dough that I made because I painted it. So I just used acrylic paint and I made it this pretty copper color. I had a lot of fun trying to make this dough into something today. But like I said, you know, art projects can be tricky. It just kind of takes a while for it to get ready to work with, and that's okay. But if you do this activity at home, friends, let us know, okay? So we're using our hashtag, Clubhouse at Our House. And we would love to see if you try to make your own salt dough, or even if you have Play-Doh at home, any kind of dough that you want to work with, and you want to make pots inspired by the people of Cahokia, let us know, okay? All right. So after our first activity of pottery, oh, and one of our friends had said that they had played with pottery before or played with a dough or a clay before. That's neat, friend. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so after we did our pottery, our next activity is learning about farming with our friend Victoria. Okay, so what are a few of your favorite foods? Can you let us know in the chat box? What are some of your favorite foods?
Someone says pasta is their favorite food. I love pasta too. Oh, and ice cream, of course, especially when it's so hot out in the summer. What other things do you all like? Veggies. Ooh, what kind of veggies? Someone says pizza. Love eating pizza. Oh, broccoli. That is a good one. Lots of veggies are refreshing in the summertime. Oh, someone says candy is a favorite food. Yeah, lots of different foods. Potato chips. So I think one of my favorite foods is watermelon. And I'm really excited because soon the watermelons that grow here in our area will be ready to eat. And they're extra fresh when they're grown right here in our area. So I'm really excited to have some of those. Someone else says ice cream is a favorite food. Yes. Mmm. What about any other things that grow in our area? Do you know of anything that grows? Does anybody have a garden at home, or do you grow anything that you can eat? Or maybe you go to a farmer's market once in a while. Someone grows corn. Yes. And corn in the summertime is really fresh. There's a lot of corn, yeah. Grass is something that grows. Do we eat grass though? I'm not sure we eat grass. There are lots of animals around to appreciate our grass. I have a lot of bunnies in my yard all the time. Oh, someone says kiwi is a good food. Yeah. Oh, and wheatgrass. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So many good foods. Thank you all so much for talking through foods that you like to eat, things that we grow. Well, someone mentions peppers. You can grow peppers in a garden. Yeah. I'm having so much fun today, and I know there's some other good stuff coming. Someone says fry bread. Can you tell me more about fry bread? Do you grow something that is an ingredient in this? Flour from the corn is used in the bread. Good. Yeah. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Victoria. She is ready for us. Here you are.
Let me just fix this a wee bit. Okay. Hi, friends. How's everyone doing? We are so glad to have you. And thank you, Emily and Lindsay. You guys had a lot of really neat responses in the chat. A lot of your favorite foods. I saw peppers, broccoli. What else? I saw bread and ice cream. Ice cream is one of my favorites too. So let's see. So now I'm going to talk about Mississippian people and farming. So the Mississippian people ate all different types of food, just like we do. They grew many different vegetables, like you all mentioned, a lot of different vegetables, and they collected things like nuts and seeds and fruits.
their main vegetable crop that sustained a lot of people, gave a lot of people food. Can you guess what it was? I'll tell you, 3, 2, 1. It was corn. Like all this corn over here by me. Are you surprised? It's still a very popular crop or food that we can grow on farmland around St. Louis and near St. Louis. They also hunted for meat and for food such as deer, squirrel, rabbit, duck, and they fished in the water to find fish to eat. So they hunted and they farmed on their land. A lot of the food they ate, we can still farm around St. Louis, in and around St. Louis on land in the Midwest, like corn, pumpkins, grapes, and we can find fish and turkey here. And those are some of the things they ate. Let's see, so in their society, women were the main farmers. And so they had a big responsibility. Because they were farmers, they had to grow a lot of the food that fed, at times, 10,000 to 20,000 different people who lived in their community. So that was a really important job, huh? You had to make sure everyone had food. So all of those people lived in the ancient city of Cahokia, which, as Emily mentioned, is right around St. Louis and on the other side of the river in Illinois. So all of that area. So a lot of their farmland was right by the Mississippi River, right? So the water in the river provided a lot of nutrients and healthy stuff in the soil that helped them to grow a lot of corn. So the soil was very nutritious. It had a lot of different important nutrients and minerals in there that helped the food grow. So I have a question. Have you ever seen a farm? Maybe if you're driving down the highway, you might pass by some farms and see tall stalks of corn. So farms are usually on big spaces of land, and that is called a plot. It's called a plot of land, P-L-O-T. And so on these big plots of land is where the Mississippian farmers would grow all of these different crops, like corn, pumpkin, lettuce, squash, all of these different things. Do you have a garden at home or at school? Have you ever grown any food before? Let us know in the chat box. Or any type of plant. Have you grown a flower or even grass? What have you grown? Oh, someone grew some flowers. I bet they were really pretty. And you know, some things we plant, they grow and they come back every single year once it's spring or summer, when it gets warm outside. Someone's grown sweet potatoes before. That is really cool. I love sweet potatoes. They're so good. Actually, that's probably my favorite vegetable, sweet potato. I think it is. Someone's grown peppers before. That's really cool. Were they spicy peppers? Well, the Mississippian people grew a lot of different vegetables, and we can grow a lot of different vegetables in our area today still. One of those things we can grow here are onions. So I actually have an onion here. Can you all see my green onion? It's not a big circular onion, but it's a little green onion. Have you seen these before maybe? Maybe when an adult around you cooks, they might use these to add a little flavor. And connected to the food they're cooking. Let me put this down so y'all can see. All right, so I have a little experiment that I did, and I'm gonna show you a PowerPoint. 1 second, let me get it. Okay. All right, here's my PowerPoint. It's called How I Grew Green Onions, and you can too. It's an experiment in gardening. And friends, do you all remember the word experiment from our first video we made? An experiment is kind of like a test. I wanted to make sure this would work before I showed you guys how to do it. Okay, so let me make this big. There we go. All right. So first I had to gather all of my materials, and I have them here with me now. Number 1 is a green onion. And you can do this with things like celery or lettuce. It's really, really cool. I have lukewarm water in my cup here, and I have a clear cup that I'm gonna put part of the onion I cut in there. And then I have scissors, of course, to cut. So I'm going to show you all how to grow your own green onions at home. And you only need these few different materials. And an adult. Don't forget. Okay. So this is what I did. Step 1 was I take my green onion, and you see this part is green, right? You see that's green? And this part is pretty white, right? And here are the little roots up here. You see they're really tiny. So our plant grows up. And which way do our roots grow? Our roots are gonna grow down into the soil or into our water. So let's cut. Ready? Right above the white part. Okay, so we have the white part of our onion and all of the roots intact. So now we're just gonna take our onion and we are gonna put it inside our cup. Oops, I have a little bit much water. As long as you have enough to cover the roots, like ours is here. Yeah, the roots are covered, that's as much as you need. So now we'll take our green onion, we're gonna put it in a really sunny place. You could put it maybe in front of your door outside or maybe in your backyard. And you can even keep it inside. I put mine on my windowsill. So it gets nice and sunny during the daytime. And then at night, there's shade for our plant. And that's what we want. We want sunlight, but not too much. And make sure your water is lukewarm, so that means it's not too cold and it's not too hot. So now look at my pictures that I took every day of my experiment. Can you all count with me? Day 1 is here, 2, 3, 4. Look, do you see this green growing here on day 4? Let's keep going. 5, 6, and day 7 here. Look how tall they got. You remember? It was this short when I cut it, and all of that green part grew in only 7 days. That's only a week. So I wanted to keep growing my green onions even more. So the last thing I did was I had a container at home, and I put soil or dirt from outside into my container. And then I made little holes in the top that are on my picture. And I planted my 2 green onions inside those holes and covered it with dirt. I packed it in nice and tight. And then the last thing I did was water my soil. So you want to make sure that your soil is moist. When you go to touch it with your finger, you want to make sure it's a little bit wet. Not too wet, but just a little bit. So make sure every day it stays moist. Oh, and also, when you're growing it in this cup with the water, make sure you change out the water every 2 days. You should change some water so that the water doesn't get kind of yucky. So, let's see. So like I said, you can do this with other vegetables like celery or maybe lettuce. You just have to find a bowl big enough to hold the water in the vegetable. And then you can plant them outside in a garden. So now it's your turn. So if you end up growing some green onions or celery or anything like that, please show us every day your vegetable sprouting. And you can tag us at our hashtag Clubhouse at our house that I have tagged here. Hopefully I got it right. I think I did. But it's Clubhouse at our house. And we'll be able to see all of your beautiful gardens and cool pictures. So we just grew some onions, right? I'm a little hungry now. I have my plate here, our pretend pottery that we just made. And I have some corn, of course, and some fish. And I think I want one more vegetable. What's in the garden? I think I'll get this squash, this yellow squash. Doesn't this look good? Oh, it's making me hungry. So, let's see. We already saw a lot of your really, let me stop sharing my screen. All right, there we go. So we already saw a lot of you guys' different favorite vegetables and some of the things you've even grown. Someone says they've grown sweet potatoes. Someone says they have grown tomatoes before. That's really cool, you all. I bet they were delicious. I am so excited to try my green onions. Once they finish growing a little bit taller, I'll probably cut them and make something yummy with them. But I'm so excited to see all of your plants begin to sprout. That was pretty easy, right? Growing our green onions. All we needed was a little water and part of another green onion that you could probably buy at a market or a store. And then after you buy one, you just snip it off and then you can have your own growing right in your kitchen or in your backyard. But farming was not easy at all for the Mississippian people. They grew a lot of different crops in their plots of land. Remember plots? Those large farm areas. And they had a really big job to do because they had to feed up to 20,000 people. And that is a lot of people. They used all the resources around them to have a thriving civilization and to make sure that everyone had food to eat. So next, we're going to take a look at how the Mississippian people built and designed some of the places that they lived in and that they worked in and that they bought food in. All right. Here we go. Hi, friends. I'm glad to see all of you back. So just like we said before, Cahokia was a lot like how St. Louis is today. The city had farms, markets, temples, houses, and neighborhoods, just like the neighborhood you live in. The Mississippian people who lived in the ancient city of Cahokia used a very important material to build their houses. Can you guess what material they made their homes out of? I know it's a little hard, so I'll give you a hint. The material is the same thing a tree trunk is made out of. A tree trunk. Can you guess what kind of materials do you use for your house? What could it be? I see Oh, I see a lot of people who guessed it. It's wood. Yes, you're right. To build houses, the Mississippian people stuck long wooden poles in the ground and wove softer wooden saplings around them, and then plastered the wood with clay. And at the top, they even covered the frame with bundles of tall prairie grass. And that's to make the roof. So sometimes they also cover the poles with layers of woven mats, just to keep it extra toasty and warm inside. So for our last activity, we are going to learn how to weave just like the Mississippian people did. I'm so excited. So their weaving was very hard to do, and it took a very long time. So we're going to try and weave something a little simpler, and you can do it at home with the help of a needle. For our weaving activity, we're going to need a few things. So some of those things are going to be a glue stick, scissors. These are my extra jumbo scissors. And 2 pieces of paper. See? So you can choose any color of paper you like. There's red, there's green, maybe yellow. So for today, I chose red and yellow. So we're going to take our red paper, this is my red paper, and we're going to fold it in half. See? Let's fold it in half. And this is what we get, fold it in half. It's going to be what a lot of people call hot dog style. Ooh, I love hot dogs. Do you love hot dogs? No problem. So now with our red paper, we're going to cut 5 lines. Okay, so we're going to have it this way, long ways. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut 5 lines. Can you count with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job, everybody. Now, when you're cutting, make sure you have an adult with you, okay? Just to help you out. And when you open it up, it's gonna look like this. See all my little holes in it in here? Oh, right? Okay, now, with our yellow paper, right here, we are gonna cut folding it hamburger style. So not long ways like our red paper. Hamburger style is this way. So we're gonna fold it just like this, right? Right? It kind of looks like a hamburger. It looks like mustard, but it's a mustard hamburger style. And then instead of cutting just to the edge with our red, see, we didn't cut all the way. We cut holes. This one we're gonna cut all the way, okay? So we're gonna take our scissors again, and we're gonna count through. We gotta do 5 of them, 5 cuts. So, you're gonna count with me? 1, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, we're almost there, and 5 right here. And that makes 6 strips of paper right here. Get them all out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Can you count with me one more time just to make sure? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good job, everybody. So now we're going to put them together. And that's where the weaving starts. So here comes the fun part. We will take one of our yellow paper strips, and we are going to go under. We're going to go under the first line. We're going to have it pop back up with the second one. See? So it went under the first one and it popped back up in the second one. And then we're going to do it again. It's going to go under the third one and it's going to pop back up in the fourth, right? And we're going to try again. It's going to go under the fifth one and it's going to pop back up on the sixth. See? There you go. You're starting to weave. So now to keep it together, we're going to glue. So we're going to take our glue stick and we're going to glue each end of our strip just so it doesn't move around. Okay? Let's glue one end. And let's glue the other end. Okay. Let's try one more time. All right? So, let's see. We're going to do this strip the other way. So since we're like this now, we're going to do the next strip. It's going to go over the first one and under the second one. So this is where we are right now, right? Over the first one, under the second one. See, you can't see it where my finger is. And then it's going to come back up, right? So it's going to pop back up just like a bunny. Okay? Pop back up. And then it's going to disappear again and go under the fourth one. See? It disappeared again, right? You can see my finger? And then it's going to pop back up. So we're going to pop it back up. It came back. And we're going to go right back under the last one. See? Good job, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. I think that deserves a round of applause. And now, like we did with the last one, we're going to glue it, okay? So we'll glue one end just to keep it snug. And we're going to glue the other end too, okay? So then once we're done weaving our paper and we do all of our strips, it's going to come out something like this. Okay. Now with this one, we did smaller strips and we did a little bit more, but it's still just 2 pieces of paper, okay? So instead of doing 5 cuts to each of them, we can do 8 cuts, 10 cuts, depending on how many strips you want to weave, okay? So we hope you had fun making pottery, farming, and weaving with us. So now let's recap what we learned today, okay? So we learned about the Mississippian people who lived in the ancient city of Cahokia, which you and your family can go visit today. They were very innovative and resourceful. They farmed, fished, and hunted. They ate things like corn, pumpkin, blackberries, sunflower seeds, I love sunflower seeds, and many more foods most of us eat today. Using clay, prairie grass, wood, and many more materials, they were able to create homes and other buildings, just like what I'm in right now. And they also created large mounds or hills that marked important places in town. We hope this time with us today has inspired you to learn more about the Mississippian people who lived here 1,000 years ago. So please show us pictures of your crafts and gardens by tagging us with #ClubhouseAtOurHouse. And thank you all so much for joining us during our Summer Family Fun series. We had so much fun, me, Emily, and Victoria. And if you missed any, you can always watch them on our Missouri History Museum YouTube channel. So ask an adult to help you out to find that. And thank you for joining us today. Bye, friends. We hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Victoria. Yes, as Danielle mentioned, go to our YouTube channel. You can share this episode that will be posted next week. There's also all the previous episodes posted that you can watch. And we have 2 more weeks of Summer Family Fun series through the end of the month. So don't miss next Monday, 10:30. We are writing a song for the Mississippi River with Marco Polo. It's going to be a really fun time. Thank you again for joining us. Hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody.